All right, we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of
Hey.
the Mindset Podcast. I have my co-host, John McDonald, and we have a special guest, Miss Jessica. She's my client. She's amazing, and she's joining us today for an interesting topic. Now, like we just said before we start recording, nobody did homework in this thing. We're just like little shooting the shit, and whatever comes out of our mouth and it's used the raw truth. Okay, so how are you guys doing today? Let's just start there.
We're great. We're from South Carolina. Jessica, where are you at? What's the time frame?
I'm Mountain Time, so it's about 5:45 here.
5:45.
Boise,
Idaho. I'm doing good, David. I want to know more about this topic because I've literally just seen it like 5 minutes ago when you posted divorce, law of attraction. I'm looking at divorce, breakups, law of attraction. So I feel like this is something that's so important that we should have done at least a month's worth of homework. So I'm eager to know why you just sprung this on us, 5 minutes.
Probably a lot to unpack here.
Yeah. And there's three people.
So the main reason, there's no main reason, more questions that come more often when it comes to someone going through a hard time with divorce or breaking up with a boyfriend, or how everything in their life changes based on their current situation. It is very impactful in their lives. And I believe that getting, your opinion, which is just open, raw, and people know you already, they kind of have an idea of what you might have to say, but they might not. And Jessica, they don't know her, but she's the complete opposite sex. So what are our perspectives when it comes to overcoming such a hard situation, or a difficulty such as a divorce or a breakup, and how this actually impacts your day, your life, from the moment that it happened until it stopped bothering you, or the moment that it stops playing such a role in your life?
Yeah, that's a lot. But I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna hit you right back with another question and say, let's I'll let you lead, and then Jessica, let us know who you are, your relationship status, what you've been through. You've got 13 kids, you got 2 kids. If you got a dog, let me know. Let's let everybody know who we are. So David, start that off, buddy.
Well, Jessica, just let us know who you are.
You want me to start?
I said David just because it's the way this works right here. So David, you're married.
Oh, okay. So I'm going live on Instagram because there are a bunch of questions already.
We didn't even say nothing yet.
I know. Hey, everybody.
Hit me with it. So let me tell you guys, someone says great subject. That's actually my cousin. So guys, who am I? I'm the youngest of the 3 of us. I'm 25 years old. I was born and raised in a third world country where divorce is not, or breakups are not seen the same way they're here. Okay, I'm gonna give you my perspective, or the way I was raised. My dad was my mom's only boyfriend. My mom was my dad's only, vice versa, whatever you say. Okay, I have never seen in my family divorce. The only time that someone in my family got divorced was actually my grandpa to my grandma. My grandpa's family called my aunt, but all the other women that he had in his life used women. They were not welcome into the family. Actually, my cousin is watching. He will, attest to this. She will always be number one, right? So, in our, culture, in our community, the marriage and the relationship with someone, it's a God's gift. You break that bond. So, for me, I think some people know this. Jen, my wife, is the only girlfriend I've ever had in my whole entire life. Just because I was raised in this, not idea, but gosh, way of living that the person that you marry is the person that you live with for the rest of your life. That is not the truth, because marriage is a decision. You do not need to be with anybody. You choose to be with somebody. I chose to be with her for as long as God wants us to be together, right? But I think in America, or non-Hispanic countries, this is completely different, and that's, I think you guys might have a better perspective on this, than me. And again, I don't have any kids. I've been with Jen for 4 years, and we have an amazing relationship. We talk, about everything. We don't make decisions alone. Before we got to her, oh gosh, I will make every single stupid decision that came in front of my eyes. Anything, we'll just go for it. Right now, we share everything, just to avoid, communication is, the backbone of a great relationship. If you don't communicate, everything just goes out the window. What do you think?
Well, I'm writing questions down, and so I wanted to get the introduction so we can just go right back to you and unpack that. I got a lot of questions there. I didn't know all that about you, David. Is that okay if we do that, guys?
Absolutely. I'm good.
All right. Give us your intro, Jessica.
Who I am? Okay. So my name is Jessica. I am 39 years old. I am currently divorced. I've actually been married twice. I'm from the Northern California area, from a very small town, and I married my high school sweetheart a month after I turned 18 because I was pregnant with my oldest. And we went on and we got married, had another baby. So they are now 20 and 17, boy and girl. And we actually, we gave our marriage a good try, but coming into that whole cultural difference, maybe, as a couple young kids and stuff, we went through a lot of stuff in the very beginning of our relationship. My former husband's mom passed away, and we dealt with a lot of, and we were young parents. And so we actually got divorced when I was 24, and we maintained a really good co-parenting relationship. I ended up actually remarrying pretty much like the first guy I dated after my divorce, and he ended up marrying pretty much the first woman that he dated after the divorce. So we had other long-term relationships, co-parenting in and out and stuff like that. He actually passed away in 2016 unexpectedly, and I kind of went through this huge transition from 2016. I feel like I was talking to David a little bit earlier about this, but from 2016 to now, there's just been this series of really huge life-changing events where I run a photography business during, we had COVID, I adopted 2 other children. I moved out of state to a new place where I didn't know anyone. My ex-husband didn't come up here with us because he had a secret girlfriend and an apartment in California. So I have been divorced for the second time since 2000. Our divorce finalized 2021, the very beginning of the year. So it's an interesting thing to be 39 years old and twice divorced, with 4 kids. But I'm also dating someone that's really great. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess.
Wow. How old are the kids?
So I have 17 and 20 are my biological kids. And then I had unexpected adoptions. They were a family match to me. So I quite honestly got a phone call right after my first husband passed away, within months, I think. And they said, you have a family member that has an 18-month-old in foster care. Do you want him, basically? And I kept saying, well, as long as God keeps opening the doors for us to take him in, then we will. There was one other family that also wanted And so we ended up adopting him. My most recent ex-husband and I ended up adopting him together. And then right before we were supposed to make the move to Idaho, we got a phone call that his mom had another baby that we didn't know that she was even pregnant. And so they basically gave us another call, and I got a call on a Tuesday, and I had a baby by like the following Wednesday. So, so I have a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, 17 and 20, boy, girl, boy, girl.
All right. So before we dive, I just one more question before we go back to David, because
it's
the
a
child
lot,
thing.
right? It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So the adopted kids, are they from your ex-husband, your first ex-husband's?
So they were so we adopted them together. My most recent ex-husband and I adopted them together.
But they were on his
side. No, they were on my side. But it doesn't.
Okay.
Once you adopt, that doesn't matter at all. They get whole new birth certificates, everything. It's just as if you had like given birth to them, like as a nuclear family. So we have 2 kids together. Yeah. I'm
so glad to have you on, because the adoption thing, I think a lot of people fantasize about adopting children, whether they've had enough, or they've outgrown, or their kids got grown up and they think they can help, or they can't have kids. So that's a big topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, all right. So you
all right.
There's a lot there. I told David earlier, I was like, there's like a couple books living in here somewhere.
Yeah, and so we're trying to keep it to an hour. We're going to give you 55 minutes. All right, David, bro, listen. So you're from what country?
Venezuela.
And what's the primary? Yeah, what's the primary religion there? Is it Orthodox Christian, Catholic?
Catholic.
Not just Catholic, but like God give me fucking Catholic. There is like
fuck you, Catholic.
Yeah, like dude, it's like it's like.
Is that like?
I have God all over me. Like, it's
so funny, man. There's like Baptists and there's Southern Baptists. There's Catholic and there's fucking Catholic. David Brazen's from fucking Catholic.
That's the Venezuelan Catholic.
My daddy's gonna listen, and he's like, "That's my boy."
Oh, yeah. That's one of his boys, because he's got a few, I'm sure.
I'm an only child.
That's so weird, man. Listen, being Catholic, I was raised Catholic as well. There's 5 kids in my family, and I was an altar boy. Give me the priest jokes. Let me get them.
You got it. You're fine. You've had enough.
Okay.
You've had enough.
I've had enough. And so after I get through with this, my little bio, you're going to say the same thing. Divorced twice. Okay. Ditto. Joined the military. 18, 19 years old, married a high school sweetheart, divorced at 24, 25. You've heard the story before, right? Married within a year later of that.
Okay.
That was a wrong move, and recently divorced in 2021, early 2021 or 2020. So
you guys were married for a while then as well. Your second marriage.
Second marriage, yeah, another 5, 6 years, whatever the term is. That usually was it 7 years, something like that, or somebody.
7-year itch.
Yeah. So my first wife, Tiffany, that's Victoria's mom. I got a 14-year-old daughter. That's it. Got the whole vasectomy, right? And so we're done there. And Victoria's mom and I get along very well. She's come on my podcast. It was probably 4 hours long. It was one of my most downloaded podcasts, actually, and a lot was learned. And that's another reason why I like doing these, because I learn a lot about cool people and cool things and whatnot. But so there was, I've ruined that marriage there personally. I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know how to be a husband. I just, we're going to get married. That's what you do. And I go off to the military. You follow me. And she did what she knew how to do. And we were doing what we were taught, wired, which was not good, not healthy. And so, and that was as when we were younger, Jessica and I can say that for a fact, when we were younger, and everybody generation's going to say this, we were different, right? So you were working and driving at 15, 16, had a job, you had different responsibilities, you were wanting to get out of the house. So the current generation, they're not going to have to deal with that. So I hope we can relate in ways, but I believe we were more grown up at the time for what we were doing, and we did not know what we were doing. I say
We
I
thought
do
we
not
had
know
it
what I
all
was doing.
together.
I
And
said
how
that,
old,
and I was like,
how old are you now?
I'm 37. So,
Okay.
um,
So
I,
we're
I,
close in age.
yeah, but I'm 84. But as I get older, I'm realizing like what
I'm the oldest 39-year-old
84.
I've never met.
The oldest. What was I saying? The older I get, you're throwing me off. But the older I get, the more I realize I don't know anything. And it's like we spend our young lives learning about the older generation, but now I find myself trying to understand the younger generation the same way. And when in our generation, I don't know if that's the right word, but in our group, we're just, it's a different way of thinking. And you got that mixture of hard work, a little bit of laziness, hard work, and then you go even older and all they know is hard work. Then you come back down here and it's more technological work. And so what we don't know and understand, we hate, right? That's what we do. And so when I catch myself hating on these kids, like I'm not a video gamer by any means. And so hey, what are you doing with this Call of Duty garbage? You know, get your ass to work, get off the couch. And, you know, there could be a hidden technique strategy that they're learning there for life lessons, but I don't know. So I'm hating on it. I'm working on it, but this isn't part of my bio. I don't know where I was going with this, but 14-year-old daughter, married twice, divorced twice, in a great relationship now. I'm learning and looking forward to the rest of this conversation.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So to piggyback of what you said about the generation, I have to agree, even though we are from a almost different generation, because I mean
I think.
I'm 25, you're 37, you're 39, right? It's there's a gap. There's about 12 to 15 years. Jen, my wife, is 12 years older than me. She's 37.
37?
Do you know that?
Oh, I
Did you
didn't
say
know
37?
Yeah, she's 7.
37?
37, 37.
Oh yeah.
You keep cutting out, man. Like,
yeah.
I have a storm going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, bringing the point that we're in different generations, I have to agree on how difficult it is to understand people my age at my age, because I was raised in a different world. I like John, like I'm great. I'm good with the computer stuff, like sending out the podcast. I cannot play a video game. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it because I was raised in a way that is wasting my time. That's not teaching me values to become a better man, a better husband.
Yeah.
And that's like the same way you look at it. It's like, get off your ass and get to work.
I haven't found, I just haven't found something that's a pro. Let's say that. I haven't found something that's advantageous in life by playing a video game. I haven't found that yet. So I don't want to say there's nothing because that's me just closing my mind. I want to be more open to it. Somebody once said that the hand technique thing, I'm not buying it, but I'm trying to learn. But I'm with you. If it doesn't, it's what?
Fine motor skills. I don't know.
Motor skills, maybe getting better at motor skills. I don't know, but to me, if it's not helping your mind, body, soul in any way, or help you be productive in life in any way, then to me, it is just a leisurely item. Like I've got a fascination with Bigfoot, and I'll watch Bigfoot at night, and that's what helps me decompress. And so if they're going to play a video, don't laugh.
I'm not laughing.
From Northern Cal, you know he's real. Stop.
I do. I know.
Okay, good. We're believers.
Yeah.
Oh man. So it's not helping you do that stuff, then to me it's not worth it. But if you need to decompress, you find something.
Yeah. A way to
and then you keep that short. Right. At the end of the night, you don't need to be talking business. You don't need to be talking relationship stuff. Nobody needs to be having arguments in the relationships past 8:00. That's my rule. That's where a lot of people become unreasonable. That time changes for folks, but you gotta learn how to shelf that and be self-aware of what's when we're productive, and decompression time is very important. So if you're playing video games, that's your thing for 30 minutes a night. Rock on, man. Rock on. I'm gonna watch my Bigfoot.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are certain times for everything, and like like I mentioned earlier, communication is very important. So let's say that, how many fights, just for you to, because I've had it, how many fights happen when you're just chilling on the couch because something bothered you, something very little bothered you. And because of the lack of communication, that leads into not being able to sleep, right? Because, you go to bed fighting and, somebody else want to fight. And, like how do we, we're, doing a little segue into, a fighting, in a relationship. But John, you made a great point. It's like not fighting past 8 p.m., right? How do you deal with that? Like when people don't know how to find that time to find peace, decompress, or use kick back before, going to bed. I think that is very important.
With the arguing, the fighting part, like keeping it before 8 p.m.
Yeah, just like where yeah. So it seems like a very shallow question, right? Just because it's like fighting after 8 p.m. Time is used a time, but I'm just talking more about communication. When you're just trying to decompress, when you're getting settled for the night to enjoy time with the person that you love next to you.
I think a huge part of communication is, like, for instance, you had mentioned that like your kind of like your rule is to not fight after, or not have arguments after 8 p.m. You don't find them to be productive. But having a conversation with your partner prior to that way they kind of know that that's your boundary, and making sure, because some partners can feel like, oh, well, that feels like abandonment, or like that you're walking away from an argument, or that it's not important to you. And I think making sure that you communicate that prior, and take into account and say, listen, it is important to me, but I know my triggers. I know that I'm going to just continue to like escalate as opposed to like de-escalate a situation. I'm not abandoning the conversation. We can talk about it tomorrow. We can set a time tomorrow that works for us. I think that's huge. It's not just communicating what your needs are, but it's also being able to communicate in a way that your partner can actually hear you, because we all communicate very differently, especially women and men, right? We tend to be a little bit more verbal communicators, and you guys tend to, well, that was a very like blanketed statement, but men in general tend to communicate in ways that are very different than women do. You guys are storytellers, as opposed to women are kind of like naggers or nitpickers, or will throw out a barb and then like kind of walk away from the situation. So I think communicating in a way that is effective communication is huge, because you can say, oh yeah, I need X, Y, and Z from you. But if your partner isn't hearing that, they're not hearing what you're saying because you're communicating in a way that doesn't resonate with them, I think that you have to talk about how you're miscommunicating. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Knowing your partner's struggles, and how to navigate through that. Past trauma. There's so much, but I think I can wrap it up in this association. Boxers, when they get into a boxing ring, what do? Months prior, they get to know their opponent. They get to know their weaknesses, their strengths, all this other stuff. What else happens? There's rules to this game. There's rules of engagement. Right. And so what I like to do, and I was horrible at it, that's why I feel like I'm getting better and working on it, right? When I was horrible at it, first thing at 19 years old, married, was rules of engagement. It was about, we're just going to fight it to the end. I'm right, you're wrong, and that sort of thing. And now it's more of all ego. That's a big one, is, I'm spending the rest of my life beating that guy down. But rules of engagement, very important. And so for me, after 8 o'clock, I'm not productive at much. Now I might piddle around on the computer, doze off and whatnot, trying to do some work, but I know my productive time is when I wake up till 2 o'clock, something like that. But rules of engagement, get to know your partner, and respect them to that point of you're willing to give in on certain things, knowing. So when you said past traumas, if you know that your partner feels abandoned because of what they've dealt with in their childhood, you don't want to leave them hanging. Even though you know and feel strongly about this argument, you're right, everybody knows you're right, you need to address their issue, so they're not going to sleep and anxiety attack or something like that.
Anxious attachment type of style.
Oh yeah, we can get deep here, but and the other way around is like, you know, you got to understand that maybe if you're the type of person that needs time, you know, I've been with folks like that as well, and I can probably consider myself, listen, I need some time to understand what you just said, so I can properly come back to you in the most productive way, because I care so much about this relationship, and I just want to be able to give you the best answer possible. In order for me to do that, I need to step out of the situation for give me 5-10 minutes. Giving time also for somebody who gets anxious and abandonment, I think giving time frames of, hey, give me an hour. Can we talk about this first thing in the morning? I don't want to leave you hanging, but no matter the issue, you have to have enough respect to do that and not use that as a power, as a whipping tool. And I did that. Very regretful. You're damaging further. You're damaging your relationship. You're damaging yourself for further relationships. And I feel horrible about it. And that's 20 years ago, not 20, but 15, whatever it is. And so for me, rules of engagement and respect, biggest things about argument, communicating. We're all going to communicate differently. And believe it or not, we're going to have different views, guys. And I own a small business, and my service manager, he runs my service department, and we don't see eye to eye a lot, but I love him. He loves me. We got to respect. And there's just like this, we can bounce things off each other, and it's what makes us great. And so, you know, people say things to me in relationships like, we just don't get along. And well, you used to get along. We have different views in politics and religion and this and that. Well, that's still possible to make that work. You just got to respect. I can respect the hell out of you. Now it's an opportunity for me to learn versus hit you over the head with my truths and my law and what I think is right. I want to learn your perspective.
Can you guys see how everything is moving here? Or can you hear the rain?
I see that you have.
You got a hurricane?
No, like literally my whole house is shaking. So if the connection breaks because my house just crumbled down, let's just keep talking. But
save yourself, bro. Leave
Jen. Some sort of GPS signal thing.
Keep this podcast rolling, dude. I don't care if the house falls down. You stay on. This is important.
Yeah.
I think go ahead.
This is lagging so bad, but go ahead.
What you were saying when you were saying, you know, the rules of engagement when it comes, like, you know, at the boxing ring, like you get to know your partner, you get to know like your opponent and all of that. It's also in a relationship, making sure that when you are having disagreements, that you're not leveraging things that you know are very hurtful just to win. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Happens every day.
The common goal should not be able to, you know, make someone always see that you are right. Right. But instead to be able to have a conversation and a dialogue and an experience with one another where you can actually ascertain a little bit on a better level where each of you is at. You have a better understanding of why someone feels that way, or how your actions have affected someone, or how their actions have affected you, etc. And don't do the low blows, the leveraging of like, oh, well, she's going to feel abandoned, so I'm just going to walk away.
So damaging. Do you really want that for your partner?
Just resentment later on.
Gosh, man, you just no. So finding common ground, whether you guys agree on the subject or not, let's find some common ground and do this together. And I think a lot of times in arguments, I know I did it when I was younger. It was me against her versus us against the issue.
Problem.
And let's attack the issue and our problems and have solutions.
Yep. That is so key.
That's that ego part, right? That
mature
side of all of us. Like we all have it, right? Like
everybody, boys, girls, everybody. NCAA swimming players.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So do we have some questions from some folks that we need to answer?
Actually, there was a question, and you actually answer it. I'm learning so much from you guys right now. Like I'm just like you know, intaking everything. How do you communicate when it's one-sided? And you just nailed it. Just on the ground, you know?
Yeah.
If it's one-sided, I can totally add to that. Do you want to go first, Jessica?
I don't think it's ever really one-sided, right? Like if there's an issue in the relationship, then there's two people in the relationship. So even though one person might be bringing it to light, it's an issue for both of you. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. I think what the question, I think the person is probably thinking about, you walk into your house and everything's fine, and all of a sudden your boyfriend, husband, whatever, and all of a sudden 90% they're just hammering down. How do you deal with that? So that's how I'm reading that, David.
Okay.
And so I can address that with, there's a reason why they're venting, and two bulls never really get anywhere. So for me, I'm gonna let you vent as long as you're being respectful, and that's the key thing. If you're gonna be respectful, to me, you can curse all you want as part of my dialogue, but don't curse at me. For me, no disrespect, and you got to stick to that. So if you're bitching about something that you left the trash, John, and I've been telling you for 8 years, 9 years, and you know this, and I know I'm wrong, or even if she's right, wrong, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna let you vent, because in my mind I'm like, she's pretty pissed, and when I'm pissed, I want somebody to hear me, and if it's not going to be me, it's going to be somebody else, and you don't want her talking to her sister. You don't want her talking to her toxic mom, her ex-boyfriend, somebody on Facebook from high school. You don't want that. So listen to whatever they got to say, because they're upset, and then say, I usually say something, hey, sorry about that. Sounds like you're having a tough day. And then address whatever's, maybe ask some more questions, but get them to feel understood. And that's first by listening.
Right, because that's usually a symptom of like a deeper rooted issue, right? Like it's not about the trash. It's about all the other things that led up to the trash.
It's the disrespect, because how dare you do that? Because I've asked you to do this so many times.
Why do you not disrespect me? Why do you not see the things that I need done around the house? I'm feeling resentful that I feel like I'm doing the majority of the work.
Oh, that's a big one, David. I'm sure you're gonna see that. What if I'm raising the kids, I'm cooking dinner, I'm taking care of everything. I feel like this.
And I'm the breadwinner.
Keep going. Let's keep digging. But there's a lot of I've been through a lot of counseling and a lot of marriage counseling. I have marriage retreats, so just because I know it doesn't mean I'm good at it. I'm still practicing. But I've learned a lot on what not to do and to do. And the I feel statements go a lot. That's a big one. I'd write that one down if you're taking notes, if you're listening to this. I feel is a whole lot different than saying you're pissing me off and you're a jerk, you're this. I feel like every time this happens, I feel disrespected versus you disrespected me, and there's just different ways to get things across so you don't come off as attacking.
Yeah,
that is so true, and I have to give props to Jen on that, because that's something that she is great at communicating. In that part, like, I've never felt like she says you did this. It's more like I feel that the way you reacted then made me feel this way. And the way it's worded, it helps so much. Come up with the solution to the situation that you're dealing with.
Right. Well, it doesn't put you on the defense, right? Like, so when someone's saying, I'm feeling this way, it's not saying you're doing this, which immediately makes you feel defensive.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, that's like a knee-jerk natural reaction to when someone's saying, you're doing this and you're not doing this.
Like myself, if Jen says, I feel this way because of your action, I feel compassion. That's that, but that's just me, right? Like
I love that she communicates like the positive side. I love that.
Yeah. So if I feel this way, I have to reverse engineer everything that it's happening in my brain. It's like, what did I do? How can I work on what I did to make sure she doesn't feel this way again?
Or what's happened in her life to make her feel that way. I don't think we make people feel certain ways. I think they interpret things that could be construed a different way.
Trauma, baby.
Little. Oh, we're all got trauma. Well, us 80s babies, at least. I know you 90s babies got it made.
I know.
Yeah. I have another question here from someone on Facebook. And it says, how do you deal with a breakup? It's simple. How do you deal with a breakup? And let's that can be
block,
very,
delete.
yeah, that's,
But then you got a co-parent.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
but
man. Yeah.
let's add a little bit to it. It's like, let's say that, like, how do you deal mentally with a breakup when you have stuff going on in your life and you feel like the person that you were with was your partner and that supported you, and now you don't have that person, so you feel like you're alone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it that way, because I think that's where the question comes from, rather than you saying, how do you deal with a breakup? You don't have to deal with a breakup. You break up and you break up, that's done. But like,
How do you emotionally evolve?
exactly, that's the question that I want to touch on.
I think it's not just a breakup. I think it's also if your spouse passes away as
Yeah, well,
well.
we were already divorced when he passed, but
I understand. I was just thinking to myself, we just had a recent bodybuilder pass away, and a friend of ours, and his wife is going through some stuff, and
awful. It's awful.
her identity was tied in so much there. And I don't want to talk about their situation as much, but a lot of times in these breakups, we have our identity in the other person versus having our own life, our own purpose, our own being. We tie that into somebody else, which becomes very dangerous.
Right.
You want to get on that, Jessica?
Well, and like the idea of what you thought your life trajectory was going to look like. So, you think you're going to have this like nuclear family, and then all of a sudden, I went to bed one day thinking I was married to someone, and then I woke up the next day and I was like, oh my God, he's a stranger. Like, I have no idea who this person is. Honestly, you have to start, once you get over like my situation, I was cheated on, right? Like, he had an affair. So I literally felt like I could shoot adrenaline through my fingertips for like 3 weeks. Like, it was just an unbelievable feeling. But you have to start you have to start doing things for you. You have to start journaling your gratitude every morning, even when you don't feel like it. You got to start thinking, like, what are some of the things that I would have done that I didn't have time to do because I was in this relationship? What are some of like my hobbies? Like, who's someone that I haven't had coffee with in a while that maybe I should reach out to, even when you don't feel like it? And slowly but surely, you start to derive joy, like self-joy, out of those things. And I think when you start being more joyful, and you start attracting more of that into your life, and you end up meeting maybe a really great person. So
Yeah, I like it. I guess the best way to piggyback off of that is I've got staples in my life that I'm going to have no matter what.
Yep.
And I try to focus on that in a relationship. Kids, yeah, absolutely. You're always going to have your children, but I'm always going to work out. I'm always going to work on my business. I'm always going to make that phone call here. I'm always going to go get coffee here. And if you stick to these staples in your life, it keeps your mind busy with these things and staying on that. And I had an employee tell me one time after my second divorce, was like, and he was going through a breakup. He was like, John, a little old breakup. He was like, how do you stay so bulletproof? And I'm like, I'm nowhere close, bro. Like, I deal with what I got to deal with. I go to my therapist every 3 weeks. I white knuckle the steering wheel and cry to God sometimes. I pray and I journal. I do all these things, but I do all these things religiously anyway to help me with that breakup. Because if it's not a breakup, it's going to be a loss in the family. It's going to be a bankruptcy, possibly. It's going to be something disastrous is going to happen in your life. You've got to be willing. You got to be figuring out how to do that. And we're all going to have deaths in our families. We're all going to go through breakups. We're all going to have financial hardships. But how are you going to get through all that stuff? It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important not to like rush the process, but at the same time, don't become like a slave to the process either, right? Like, allow yourself to feel it, allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to be pissed and hurt and angry, and cycle through all of those stages of grief, right? And it's not cyclical. It's gonna bounce all over the place. You're gonna feel happy and bargaining one day, and then you're gonna feel like you're over it, and then you're gonna be really mad, but in the next minute. And I think you have to be gentle with yourself, allow yourself to feel those things, but also don't get stuck in one of those stages. Don't get stuck in that depressed stage. Don't get stuck in that bargaining phase. I think a lot of the times the things that we mourn when we break up with someone is not so much the loss of that person, but the loss of this like idea in our head of what we thought that person was to us, like how they somehow completed us. And it's not anyone else's job to complete anybody. It's your own job to do your own self-work and to be in love with who you are. So that way, if someone else comes along and comes into your life, you know, they can add to it, but you're going to be able to live without them. You will. And you will laugh again. You will smile again. You will love again. You will. But it's going to take time.
This too shall pass.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it does.
It's so funny that, like, what you both have said is the caption that I wrote today on my Instagram. I made a post about saying, like, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Right.
Yeah,
the question that comes from the breakup is like, you know, she's trying to figure out how to deal with not being with this person anymore. But the thing is, like, you will find somebody else or something else, you know,
better
along the path, along your, you know, your life journey, something better, right? That will come along your way and, like you said, add value to you. But you need to have a relationship with yourself. You have to nurture this relationship with your own mind, your body, your soul, in order to be also able to provide value to that person. You know, you receive what you give. So if all you do bring into, you know, this person's life is you're sort of like how sad you are because you're a breakup and you need to move on to something else, that's going to come back to you. So having a relationship with yourself and being able to love yourself, John, I got you there. Love yourself so much that then you're able to love somebody else. I think it's something beautiful that people really need to work on. You need to choose yourself every day before you decide to tell somebody else, hey, I think I'm ready for this. It's like, you know, when you're ready, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's an opportunity for, I think with a breakup comes this like very difficult opportunity, but it is still an opportunity to grow, to learn from that relationship, to learn where were some of the ways that I was betraying myself? What were some of the ways that I wasn't a good partner? What are some of the ways that I was had rose-colored glasses on that in my next relationship is going to be a non-negotiable? It allows you to really self-reflect on who it is that you want to be and who it is that you want to attract as your next partner, you know?
Yeah.
You
guys know Ed Milet? A lot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You guys love Ed Milet? Well, he's got this great saying that things happen for us, not to us.
Absolutely.
And so anytime something happens that feels like it's somewhat catastrophic or whatever, I think to myself, I'm like, I literally the first thing I'm like, all right, what's going to happen now? Like I'm starting getting excited because if this is happening, there's a reason. So there's always something better that's going to happen from whatever's going on. And it's ingrained in me at this point, but I think that takes practice.
Yeah. And also, I mean, that thing that happens to you it happens in your mind first. And that's something that it's very, very important to understand, you know. And now this, you know, I know the segue into like the law of attraction is that if you think in negative terms all day long, negative things will happen to you. Right.
Yeah.
And, you know,
well, you're so hyper focused on them.
Yeah. So, you know, if you want to buy a red Mercedes, right, and you're not able to buy that car because you had a, you know, 520 credit score, when you drive on the highway, you're going to see Mercedes everywhere because you're looking
red
for
Mercedes, a
red Mercedes,
red car.
Yeah, or a red car, right? You're going to see that car every time because your energy, your focus, like your vision is in that car. So that's it also translates to relationships and your habits and your love. You know? So, you know, finding this connection with yourself to make you understand that success or love or happiness is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Whatever you become, you think about, and whatever you think about all day long will happen in your life. And that is so hard to understand. And like Joe said, it takes time to build this connection with your own mind to know that you will able to make it happen because things happen for you.
Right.
where do you think these limiting beliefs that most people have, where do you think that comes from?
Honestly, I mean, at least in my own experience, is the support system. For me, like I told you earlier, my mom, because of my mom, I am the greatest man that has ever stepped on earth. I'm the greatest man ever, because my mom told me that every day. And I used to believe everything. Like, I'm going to show it again. It's here. I look at this thing all day long, every day. Like, there is absolutely nothing that I cannot do. You know, I don't have. And you finish this. I think there is a big thing that a lot of people suffer. I mean, they suffer of is a scarcity mindset, right? You struggle with money. The reason why you struggle with money is because you don't know how to handle your money. The reason why you're struggling with a relationship is you don't have a great communication with your partner. The reason why you're not able to sleep is because you decide to go to bed at 2 a.m. instead of going to bed at 10 p.m. You know,
right.
So whatever you're lacking, you're not, practicing a better relationship with that thing. So that's where your limiting beliefs come into play.
So I'm gonna reel that in back to what you were saying. Mama said you were the best ever, and that's where you got your affirmations of being the man. And I believe limited beliefs also come from family first.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think family first, and then as we get older, society, our friends and whatnot, what's normal, what's accepted, and then all of a sudden we gain not a conscious, but somebody help me out.
Like
awareness. We grow a
Yeah.
fear. We grow I want to keep saying conscious for some reason.
We become like
A
cognizant
complex.
of. Yeah.
A complex. So we get a complex about something that we didn't used to have a complex about. And then we don't cultivate that, and it could be something really good. You could be the best soccer player in the world, and mom told you you're the best, and then you get to high school, and dad calls you fatty. Dude, you could have went either way. And I still think about that conversation. Dad called you fatty. Mom gave you a lot of affirmation. You chose mom's affirmations. Good job, mom. And good job, dad, if he was doing that strategically. Everybody's gonna raise their kids different and know how to trigger their kids the right way. Yeah, and so I think I would like to think that your dad did that the right way. But if he didn't, good job anyway. He's got a good fucking kid. So the limited beliefs. And then we have to relearn. So when we're 3, 4, 5 years old, learn to walk, learn to ride bikes and whatnot, you can do it, little Johnny. You can ride that. You can walk. Everybody praises you. Everything's great. You could be an astronaut. But the minute you start talking crazy about being a millionaire, the minute you start talking crazy about being a bodybuilder or being a professional football player, they put you right back in check. Nope. Look, little Johnny, you're going to go to school. You're going to go to college, you get yourself a degree, and then they start programming you to be great, but not greater than them. Anyway, limiting beliefs. We have to limit the people that are giving us limiting beliefs.
Well, so then piggybacking off of that, people give you some of those limiting beliefs, and then you go through life and you are going to have failures. You are gonna fail at things occasionally, right? You are going to fall down.
Occasionally, a lot.
Right? So then those I think with sometimes those
it affirms
the limiting beliefs, absolutely, it's like affirming what you were afraid of happening, right? So then
Dad's right, David.
I'm a fatty. Like, it's okay. My grandma told me I was the biggest one in the family when I was like 16 years old, and I was like, that's exactly what a 16-year-old girl doesn't need to hear. I still haven't forgotten it, and I'm 39. So it's like, and then if you do fail, if you put on weight or take off weight or whatever, you are going to fail through your life.
There's a fine line here with the affirmations and let me say reality sometimes. So, if I mixed your mom and your dad, David, like, hey, you're the greatest ever, but we have to work on your math. You kind of suck right now. And you got to word that right. You got to do it. So how do you? You got to word it right. And I got to work on my delivery, because I'm very direct, and it's like when you're giving an evaluation to an employee or something, what's the rule of thumb? Give 2 compliments before you knock them down on the bad one, the bad thing. And so it's like that with, that's right, the constructive, whatever. But you got to figure out how to communicate with that. If it's your kids, that's, we're out here raising children, right? And you want to build them up, but you also want to say, listen, you're not as good as you think, but you can be. And if you do this, this, and this. And so it's a fine line, man, because they can take that negative.
Measurable step.
You probably saw it, John. Alex Hermoso just posted a video, a few weeks ago that, when you're going into a conversation with somebody and they need to realize what you're saying, you want them to realize the negative. Before you bring on the negative, you tell them what you're great at. Is that, what, you're a great person. You've hit your goal every time, but we can work on, being better. And, the thing, like, we said on the last podcast, the same people that you love the most and help you grow are also the same people who bring you down and they make sure you stay there. They sometimes they might do it out of love, but it's not helping you grow. Okay. So just limited belief.
But it can. It can. Now, this is what we were talking about before the last podcast. It worked for you. And so here's my catch-all answer for this, Jessica. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast, but I like to operate on the dark side, like Andy Frisella likes to say. If they something real negative, people hate me, and I use that energy, right? So David's got all that affirmation. He fed off of that, and so if there's some, I get what you're saying, but I went the dark way, and so here's my rule of thumb: any critique, good, bad, I don't care who it comes from, always take that in and assess it. So if Vladimir Putin said, John, you're an asshole, I might say, let me assess I don't know why I picked him. I don't know why I picked him, but let me look at myself.
So I feel like it's a good example.
It was Will Smith or Vladimir. I went with the communist guy. It was a lose-lose. Anyway, so I have to look at myself every time. Damn. So take any critique, whether it's good, bad, or from somebody you respect or not, and then assess yourself. And if it's something that's so off the wall, doesn't make sense, you laugh it off. John, you're fat and ugly. I can't even, you're not even paying attention. But hey, John, you really hurt my feelings. You're a jerk because you said this, and you should get your ass kicked. Okay, well, what did I say? Let me look through this. So, and you could defuse a lot of arguments that way as well, because when somebody says something negative about you, you're being an asshole, John. I've had a family member say that. I'm like, hold on, let me think about that for a second. I might be. So let me take a few minutes and think about that. Let me get back to you on that, because I don't want to come off as an asshole. We need to reach a common ground here, a mutual thing. Yeah. This relationship really means something to me, so I don't want to come off as an asshole. Can we take some time? Anyway, take all that critique and take assessment of yourself. Take stock and inventory of if it's true or not.
Yeah, especially if you're hearing like repetitive, right? Like if people are saying something similar.
Yeah, that don't know each other.
There's probably some grit to that, right? There's probably some traction to that. There's probably some reality rooted there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. As long as they don't know each other, it can't be Jen and her mom. Okay, they can't be like David's an asshole. David's an asshole. Well, yeah, I'm probably an asshole, but anyway, all right, we got more questions.
Let's see. Yeah, we have a few actually.
I wish I got to see them filter through.
They use their messages. Says, what's the best advice for someone who wants a healthy relationship?
Build one with yourself.
Why are they so
first.
Generic?
Build one with yourself first.
Yeah. I don't have any deep questions.
Yeah. Build one with yourself and work on your relationship with God, or whatever you may believe in. And if you grow a strong one there, and you got strong friendships, then you're gonna attract a strong spouse or whatever.
Like romantic relationship. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you could practice that with everybody on your rules of engagement, your respect, how to communicate. Communicate's the biggest freaking thing. Is just if you can figure out how to do that with respect, you can be wealthy, you can be prosperous in your relationships and your entire life. So if there's nothing else I teach my daughter, it's how to communicate. If I can't read your mind, let's talk and be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question here.
Go ahead.
No, you go on.
I was going to say, surround yourself with people that have healthy relationships, right? Like you are who you hang with. Hang out with dynamic, growth-oriented, smart people, like I have a group of friends that are like doctors and incredibly high achieving human beings. And I always say, like, I'm the dumbest one in the room, right? That's how you should feel sometimes when you're hanging out with a certain group of people. You want them to hone you and to sharpen you. And, hopefully I'm hoping that maybe they think that about me too. But
you said doctors like it was like it was here, and it's because of level of education.
Right.
And for
well,
me,
it's like a level of like determination and seeing something through. And
it takes something. It takes something.
Yeah.
I used to look at it like that as well. With you, you've gone through that many years of school, and you've accomplished something. And now that I'm when I talk to some, I believe 90% of the doctors that I know are more closed-minded.
Okay.
Or also the other thing is that they what's the word? More like they know everything about everything.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
And a little arrogance maybe.
There's a little arrogance, and that might, you put 200 grand into 10 years of your life. I understand why you feel so hard the way you do. I fought in the military and I served, and at the time I thought I was fighting a good cause. Later in life, I look back, I'm like, what the hell were we doing over there? Why did we do it? I was so into it, and so now I don't have to live by my ego anymore, and I can look back and say I've evolved as a person. I wish we were able to do that in politics. Everybody puts their feet in the ground. Nobody likes to say I've evolved as a person.
Right.
Now I accept abortion, or now I feel this way, and it used to be this way. Instead, we treat them like they got to be perfect, and you can't make mistakes, and you can't change your mind. It's just it's not the truth. How did we get here?
Well, at least the ones that I hang out with, right? Like they're dynamic, they're well educated, they stay up on current events. I mean, I'm saying like doctors, CEOs, law enforcement, veterans, etc. Like surround yourself with people that want to continue to grow, right? That don't just get complacent where they are and they're just like, man, I'm just going to stay on the couch and I'm going to play Call of Duty, Like get around people that are active, that are in healthy relationships, healthy friendships, healthy romantic relationships, all of that. That's what you want out of life. If you want a healthy relationship, start with yourself. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
Personal development. If they're into personal development, there's a good chance we can get along because you're working towards the same thing. And I didn't mean, but I did mean to target doctors just because there's just it seems to be a lot of
friend group.
Oh shit! Here we go.
I'm married to a doctor.
But I actually think you guys would get along just fine. I promise.
Okay, that's wonderful. I don't know why. I've come into a rash of them that way. And anyway, what else we got?
Here to the West Coast. Come out to the West Coast.
I'd love to.
We have one question here that we actually answered on the last podcast, but it's based on relationships. Like how do you keep a positive relationship? Like it's a long question. I'm breaking it down to
a myth.
No.
I highly recommend you listen to the last episode. How to stay away from negativity. All the time. Here's the thing: like sometimes people get it confused. It's not looking for positivity because you can be a positive person. It's getting rid of the negativity in your life. Right? That is. It seems very simple, but like weight loss, losing weight and losing fat is really easy. The difficult thing is getting rid of the bad habits that are not allowing you to move forward. So it's the same thing with people in your life. If you have someone holding you back and you're not able to just move forward, just get rid of that person. When it comes to a relationship, communication is going to be the most important thing. when you're trying to build a relationship. If you cannot talk to your partner, to your spouse, there's not much to be built upon there, just because what is the dynamic of the relationship gonna be when there is not a fluid conversation. That's how you keep positivity through communication.
Yeah. Well, and have like hone in on that discernment, right? Like to be able to recognize negativity, to recognize that that's a cancer in your relationship, that is something that needs to be cut out. That discernment is huge.
Yeah, John said something really awesome, actually 2 podcasts ago, that I'm actually doing on a daily basis, even though it's really hard for me because I cannot find any more reasons. Instead of just writing, I do both. Every morning I have my journal. Also, guys, if you want one, send me a DM. I have another 80 of this. I'll send them to you. I used to write down every day the things I'm grateful for every single day. But I also, I tweaked it a little. I also write down what bothers me. Right? What is making me stressed out? I also write that down. Once I write it down, it is not as negative as I thought it was before, because I'm able to come up with the solution. So that's a way that you can find positivity in your life. Figuring out what makes you stressed, what makes you sad, what makes you pissed. Once you see it in front of you, you can say, okay, I'm able to fix this situation by taking this action. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Are you writing down things you can control or things that are out of your control?
Both. Because I don't worry about the things that I cannot control, because there are many things in my life that I cannot control. Like I have a pretty good grasp of everything around me because this is my world, like this computer right here.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of times we're emotional.
Go ahead.
A lot of times when we're emotional, everybody gets emotional, and our brains aren't discerning at that moment whether it is controllable or not. And so when we take the time to write down, personally, take the time to write down the things that are uncontrollable, it becomes blatantly obvious, because I'm having to think and discern, the weather is shit today and it puts me in a bad mood. Can I do anything about it? No. Cross it out. This happened today, whatever. And you cross. And then so once I get through that list, I'm like, all right, so now what are the things I can control? And it makes me happy to know I can control those things.
Yeah.
Because we're all control freaks.
I mean, even my 6-year-old, he has like a 3-minute gratitude journal that he does. Like we do it in the evening before he goes to bed, and he's 6.
Awesome.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone.
What is he thankful for? Let's hear it.
Do you want to see his most recent?
Yes, I want to see it.
Okay,
yes.
Hold on.
It's going to be best.
Right here next to my bed. Okay.
John, I think this is my favorite episode.
Today.
I'm sorry?
I think this is my favorite episode.
Where is it? Okay. So he said that he is thankful for Mom, Gabriella, that's his sister, and then his dad.
I want to hear something crazy.
The person that brought him joy today was me. And he did say that he felt all of the emotions. Where is it? So it says like, how are you feeling today? He felt all of them. There you go. So
that's kind of cool.
So you can see like there's happy all the way down to like sad, right? So he circled it and he was like explaining. He's like, I felt sad when this happened, and I felt medium sad when.
Is that a template?
Yeah, it's called the 3
Did you make it or you bought that?
Nope.
3-minute gratitude. I'm getting one.
It's awesome. And then
how amazing this will be for a 40-year-old man.
We try to do it.
It will be for a 40-year-old man to say, you know what? I felt sad. I felt happy. I felt good. I felt bad.
Yeah.
We're so
entitled. So when he circled all of them, I'm like, that's unique. Tell me about that. And he's like, well, I felt sad when you threw away my paper, and I felt like medium sad because I was like thinking about like the bad decisions that Dad made that doesn't live here anymore. I'm like, okay. And then like those kind of things. Yeah, we have all of them.
Wow. So he's 6, and let me look. When we're getting older, from 6, you're teaching him how to understand his feelings, or to realize that he has these feelings. And we, in our 80s It's okay. And 80s babies, it's more like toughen up, do all the, grit through all. That's right, man. We don't got time for feelings. Let's go.
No,
and
you gotta go work. Do your chores.
That's everything. Men put shit on their shoulders and they get to work and they see past that stuff. I'm on the couch at my therapist today, and I'm telling her about a story or something. I've been going for the past 10 years, every 3 weeks, whether I want to or not. Healthy body, healthy mind, guys. And I was telling this story, and for whatever reason, I had that little feeling, that little lump. And I stopped. I said, hey, for whatever reason, I got emotional just now, and I'm not sure why. And so I'm talking with her on how to, and when that happens, I let her know, because I'm trying to get back to this. It's okay to have that. There's a reason why. Let's figure that out so I can be better. That takes incredible amount of self-awareness and patience with yourself. And it could turn, there's a lot of feelings there. Oh, it's all rewiring. And so it's important for him to feel his feelings then. I just hope that he continues that on. Hopefully 10 years from now, he's on the podcast talking about his feelings.
Oh, he would love to get on this podcast. He is fully feral, that one. He is fully feral.
Feral.
This is all mine. He's wild child. Child.
If all
I got 2%.
1 minute. If all mothers in the country, in the world, were doing with their 6-year-old what you're doing, we will have a different world.
No, I fail 100 different ways every day. Don't worry. But
that's
one thing I do right?
That's a good one. All right. I do want to know, I'm going to close this up just because I got 2%, 1%. I do want to know who did their 6 things in 6 days from last week. So get back to David on that, guys, on how to be confident. If not, go back to the last podcast, look it up. If nobody, then I'm very disappointed in everybody. And that's it. I got that. Jessica, nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too.
Hope to have you on again. And I want to know more about the adopted situation. Just curiosity.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to do that. But
I think
David,
we need another episode on how to build a circle. I think that'll be a good one.
Circle.
Who's your
give us a little
circle?
Yeah, like your friends. Yeah. You hang out with a bunch of cool people. John and
all doctors. Just only choose doctors if they have MD after their name.
Oh my gosh. Do they let you know that? Do they let you know that too?
They always let you know. I mean, of course.
And they're vegans and CrossFitters, I bet, as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do have one vegan. It's not in the inner circle, but she's dating an inner circler. I better be careful what I say. Shit.
Guys,
yeah, you put her out there, and you just cursed, David. I can't. I got to draw a boundary here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
All right. Bye.